Good evening, North America. Welcome back one more time here in the North American Tournament Finals for 2026. This is going to be the last matchup here in the final stage, and we've got two players meeting each other here in the losers bracket. It's going to be Tekkito versus JP. Both these players having fought to get to this point in the tournament. And whichever player ends up winning this match will end up moving forward into the losers grand stage. They will play against Pikapone. Just had to remind myself, the loser of that previous match that we had earlier today. But yeah, we'll see. This should be a pretty exciting one on paper because both these players are quite skilled when it comes to the things that they both would want to pick here. So JP, of course, didn't have any matches played this weekend yet. Ended up having Orange Juice, I believe, FF into them for their first round of the finals losers stage. But Tekkito had to play against UFO, TTV UFO, and if you haven't seen that match already, if you weren't watching the live stream, if you haven't looked at the VOD on the Twitch channel, definitely do so. It was quite an intense match, so many close points, and really crazy to see some high skill play here. But we are going to be getting underway with the picks and bans here now. Looks like it was going to be the pick order chosen from Tekkito, choosing to pick second, and JP, who is your Q, but I will just be referring to them as JP, chose to have the second ban. So Tekkito, for the first ban, going to be getting rid of that Hard Rock 2. Going to be that hyper precision map, CS 7.8. Just kind of giving some respect to JP, who is quite good at high AR, quite good at high CS, and quite good at DT and hidden. Specifically, those are a lot of things that Tekkito is also good at, but I think high CS is probably maybe a bit too much here for Tekkito, so not going to be seeing that. That Nomad 2 ban coming out, though, to answer back from JP, giving a lot of respect to Tekkito's skill in flow, especially on long stamina maps here. This 210 BPM stream map, and Nomad 6 is going to be the next ban here from Tekkito's. It's actually kind of interesting. I wasn't really thinking that one would be on the radar necessarily here as a potential ban into JP, but just not wanting to play on that super low AR gimmick map, higher CS, the CS6, AR6, and pretty mean on the reading. So yeah, gonna be getting rid of that one for their second ban, and we are looking to see what JP wants to choose to ban out for their next ban. And yeah, it was probably either between that DT2 or maybe something more uncomfortable in the DT pool, like that DT4, potentially. I could have seen that as a ban, but that DT2 going to be the 255 BPM, the stream map. Stream? It was finger control, actually. But yeah, I'm gonna be getting rid of that one there, so nothing too out of the ordinary, I feel like, as far as the ban phase went. Just that Nomad 6 I really wasn't expecting here, but it's going to be the instant Nomad 1 pick here. I am actually kind of surprised to see this, because we saw this in the Pikapone versus Pez matchup, where I believe Pikapone was first to pick, and they just rapid-fired the Nomad 1. And I do think this is still going to be a solid pick for JP. I think a lot of the time, especially when you're doing like slot pulling, Nomad 1s are generally saved for like, you've ran out of picks, so just pick the Nomad 1 and hope that you're more consistent on the map. Which is still going to be the case here. This is a Lafnia map. It is the AR 9.5 diff of Yudachi no Ribbon. It's not going to be the AR 10 diff, which would make it a Arl's difficulty, but still going to feature just a lot of jumps. And the ending diff spike goes kind of crazy. A lot of uncomfortable jumps in that, but for the most part, just jump consistency is the name of the game here. Also, not really going to be worrying too much about accuracy. At the very least, like, act drops shouldn't really just be coming left and right. It's 230 BPM, which is very comfortable here when it is, for the most part, just jumps. There are a couple of longer bursts. There's like 2 of them. One is like 10 notes and one is maybe 14 notes, but really nothing too crazy. But yeah, this is an interesting pick here. I do know that both these players are very familiar with each other. They've played a lot of tournaments either with or against each other, and so again, this is probably just a soul read here from JP, just recognizing that maybe the consistency on the aim might be just enough to trip up tekkito on this first pick. So we'll see how it goes. Already, just off the intro, just a few 100s here for JP. Not really going to do too much. It's a longer map, but those misses are also not going to do too much here, but is going to give a slight advantage over the way of JP. Maybe just a little bit unwarm here. Maybe just a slight misaim. Who knows? But yeah, the big jumps come through during the ki sections and a couple of parts right before them here. So this is one, but that jump's not going to be that big in spacing. But as we get into the first ki section, it does pick up just a little bit. So more potential for misses if players do end up aiming just slightly wrong here. But right now, it's just been that early miss from tekkito. Both players hitting those patterns, but not tekkito, who does end up missing on the 1-2s there at the end of that ki section. And that's just going to continue to give JP even more of a score lead here. That score will continue to climb now with tekkito finding, again, another break. Especially at the end of that ki section, it's not where you'd want to be missing, because for the most part, I mean, this is basically the free combo section of the map. There's just a lot of nothing happening here, but it does kick right back into the big jump. So JP continuing to push forward on that combo advantage. Already 90,000 points in their favor, and we're going into the second ki section. Nobody going to be missing right before it, but again, the spacing continually getting a little bit larger each time the ki hits. Spacing on the bursts do also start to get noticeably larger, so do have to maintain composure there. That's going to be one of the longer bursts. Again, nothing too long, not going to trip up either player. And yeah, I mean, just look at the accuracies. Like, neither player is uncomfortable when it comes to this BPM, especially when it's pretty much single taps, although they're both alternating players. But yeah, it's going to come down to the aim, and tekkito, again, going to be finding another break here, but at the 2/3 mark of the map, and JP has pretty much already secured this point, even if any misses do occur. Now 220,000 points and continuing to climb, and tekkito once more going to be finding more breaks here as we come into the final quarter of the map. It's just going to be a question of how much further JP can push it. The tekkito cannot bring the score lead back over, and JP hits those jumps leading into the final ki section here. So now we just have to sit back and watch and see just what JP is capable here of. It's going to be the 50, just slight misaim there, but was able to recover on the tapping, but not able to recover quickly enough to be able to hit the next few notes after. tekkito going to be finding a pretty big chain miss there, but hey, it's not going to matter too much here because JP has already won the point. Again, another miss coming through now, though. 99.3% accuracy for them, but yeah, the ending diff spike of this map is just so brutal. The spacing continually just getting larger and larger between the notes, and this is a fantastic first pick here from JP, just really recognizing a pretty exploitable weakness from tekkito, who from the start of the map just was not having the best of times getting their combo together. They had the good accuracy, but this is not a map where, you know, accuracy will win you the point. It's all about the comboing, and I think, yeah, 1,340 combo here before JP found their first miss is quite good for their chances of being able to win that point, and they do win by a significant margin, 320,000 points or so in their favor. So that will be the first point on the board from their first pick. And now, if you're tekkito here, normally it would be something in the DP pool, but I was gonna say that could maybe be a little bit more risky, especially into somebody like JP, but still feeling quite confident on their own skills here. tekkito is going to go into that DT3, which is going to be it's AR 10.5. DT1, 2, and 3 are all 10.5. 10.3 is exclusively only on the DT4, but this one is going to be 240 BPM, and it's finger control, question mark, I believe, on this one. A little bit of tapping. It's also on the longer side, 2 minutes 51 seconds of drain time. So we'll see how both these players fare on it, and should be a good indicator for if tekkito is going to want to dip back into some of these more mechanics forward picks or not, depending on if they are able to do well on this pick. But do imagine that we'll be getting things going shortly. Looks like tekkito going to be stepping out of the lobby just for a moment. We saw this a lot, especially from also with UFO in their match, but tekkito in particular does tend to step away from the lobby to go look at, parts of the map, maybe just make sure that they've got, the difficult parts that make it hard for them down, or maybe just practicing the intro to make sure that you don't miss in the intro, whatever. You've got the timer if you are allowed to utilize it, so tekkito taking full advantage of that, and we'll see how this one plays out. I do still think that either player picking into the double time is going to be risky, and especially in this matchup. But I thought the same about that Nomad 1, and I mean, JP ended up winning that very decisively, so we'll see if this one works well for tekkito or not. And so we are going to get into the map right now. We've got some Akabai Jazz Concert. I don't even know if I've read that name before, but it's going to be a last day map. And yeah, finger control here. A lot of finger control on this one, as I remembered correctly, so it's good to know. Accuracy will actually matter quite a bit more here on this map. Of course, you do still want to combo, but accuracy can give a lot of points in your favor if you do have the better accuracy here. And already just starting off, it's about almost 2% accuracy difference between these two players, and just off of that alone, it's 13,000 points in favor of tekkito. Is going to give slight advantage, but again, moving into the first TI section here, it's more of these doubles, more finger control, a little bit of aim control as well, making sure to stop on the notes properly. Nobody getting caught up by the slow sliders here. Still moving forward into the TI. Nobody to find any breaks leading into it. Now the spacing increasing on the burst pattern, so there is potential for some breaks, and it is going to be tekkito first to fall, but JP will trade it out very shortly after, down about 3% accuracy as well, so that is going to continue to keep that score in favor of tekkito, and as more misses come through from JP, is going to continue to push the score for tekkito. JP missing right at the very tail end of that TI, and that's not a great spot to continue to find breaks here for JP. Now this score is going to start climbing quite significantly as we reach that halfway mark of the map, so we'll see just how long tekkito is going to be able to hold on to the combo for the time being, but right now it's 66,000 points separating these two players, so tekkito does still have to maintain the combo as we go into the next TI section here. Again, the spacing picks up, but it's JP first to fall, and now the score is continuing to go further the way of tekkito, but is going to finally find a break, so not going to move that much quickly anymore, as JP has built back up just a little bit of combo, but is just matching what tekkito has here, and despite all of that, still down about 3% accuracy. I mean, it's starting to look better and better here for tekkito on their first pick. I do still think that there's time for JP to bring it back, but do need to see misses from tekkito more than the misses coming through from JP, as both players do find the trade. Now tekkito finding the miss right at the tail end of that burst, but I don't know if there's enough time. JP would have to FC the rest of the map here, and tekkito would need more misses to come through. It is still possible. Those are going to be a couple of misses from tekkito. Now that score has dropped down to about 78,000, but it's still on the back of JP, and is there enough time? Actually, it's 80,000 points. I think the accuracy is really starting to pull ahead here for tekkito. We'll see as we come into the final bit of the map. Both players holding on to the combo. It's only about 150 combo in favor of JP, but now it's going to be none of that because JP finds the break and tekkito holds on to the combo into the ending. And yeah, it wasn't going to go the way of JP here. Would have needed more misses from tekkito, although quite a bit closer of a pick than that previous Nomad one was. So tekkito still going to be finding their first point here on that DT3, looking pretty solid, but I mean, I think it was a lot closer than maybe he wanted it to be. So good on them to be able to get that point. tie things up, not giving a breakpoint away too early on into the match, but still have to stay on your toes here as we go into JP's next pick. Normally, I would maybe expect something in the hidden pool from them, but honestly, in a matchup like this where they're so evenly skilled, I could not decisively say that they would go one direction or the other, but it looks like they are just going to try to continue to abuse maybe a little bit of advantage that they have over tekkito in the aim that is in some of these one slots here. The Hard Rock 1 is going to be their next pick, and the map is pretty hard. All things considered, it is quite hefty on the spacing of the bursts. There's a couple of longer streams, but only 215 BPM, so, for some people it might be fast enough to trip them up, but for players like these, I mean, they could tap it, but they still have to aim properly, and so that is still potential to find any breaks on it, but yeah, I mean, it's aim consistency on this one, but not like aim consistency in the sense of that Nomad 1, where it was, like cross-screen jumps and just a couple of bursts here and there. No, like the bursts when this map hits, for the most part, they are kind of funky bursts. It does actually start turning into some spaced bursts where you've got separated notes on those bursts, and you do actually have to properly aim them. And it's a lot of circular flow as well to the burst patterns. So a lot to keep your eye on here for the players, a lot to really not lose focus on, as well as we are going to get this second pick for JP underway. It is a 1-to-1, so map number 3 here, Tenohira Deodaru. And it's such a cool map, but like really volatile, I feel like, just given all of the burst patterns that do end up getting spaced here, and just already off the start, tekkito going to be finding first break on that jump pattern. JP will trade it out very shortly after, but you can already kind of see the spacing start to increase on some of those 5-note bursts, but it's these 3-note bursts right here that happen pretty much every single time leading into the different sounding sections, normally before all the key eyes, but yeah, JP going to be finding misses on that. tekkito now has a little bit of combo advantage working their direction as JP finds another break. Accuracy-wise, slight advantage over on the side of tekkito, but just ever so slightly here as we get some jumps into the first KI section. Here's going to be some 1-2s leading into the triples. Nobody going to be missing on those space triples, but the spacing does not stop here in the KI. You see it increases on the ends of those bursts, and nobody going to get tripped up by that. So is going to continue to hold on to the combo here, but tekkito does fall. That was a missing on the burst pattern, found a couple of 50s in the miss right after, but JP trades it out with a chain miss of their own. So it's going to continue to keep the score on the side of tekkito, but only just barely here. This is on a knife's edge. It's anyone's point right now, and tekkito going to be dropping combo on those 1/3 jumps. It's not the greatest spot to miss, but there's no real free combo here, and they have proven correct as JP does end up dropping at the very initial start of that burst. tekkito will trade it shortly after, and I mean, it's just a bloodbath here. Longer stream now. Both players do have to not miss-aim that. We're going into some jump sliders here. Nobody miss-aiming on those either. So, for the time being, it's just a slight advantage towards JP, but still, the score advantage is on the side of tekkito. It's that slight accuracy in their favor, but now, finding the miss, JP does have a little bit of leeway here. It's about 200 combo in their favor, so they need to continue to hold here. Again, spacing going to kick up once more after this little burst section, and does end up missing on the jumps there. That's actually not the spot I would expect to miss. 1/3 sliders aren't going to trip up either player here. tekkito now holding on to the combo advantage. Players hitting that spaced stream, so we're going to keep things close, but that score has still not left the side of tekkito here. And JP finding a massive chain miss at the end of that section. tekkito going to be missing on that jump pattern, but JP trades it out, so it is still on the side of tekkito. It's 36,000 points in favor. JP finding more breaks, and I mean, this pick is still so volatile. It's going to come down to the very end of the map here between these two players. tekkito finding the break right before this section, but I mean, it's just barely trailing behind in combo still. So now it's down to the solo section here. JP going to be missing on the space triples as we go into the final section of the map. There's still time, but it would have to be a complete fall apart from tekkito. JP needs to hold on to the combo, and you have to pray for a fall apart here, but tekkito is holding on as well. Doesn't hit that burst. Is there enough time? No, there's no way. Unless tekkito makes a complete fall apart. Hold on, there are misses coming through here. A lot of misses actually on tekkito, but it's just not going to be enough. tekkito getting the first breakpoint of the match here. 2-1 off of JP's second pick. I mean, just what a bloodbath. Absolute bloodbath on that map. And I mean, it's kind of been that way. I think the entire tournament here in this final stage, I think this map has been played in most, if not all, matches so far in the final stage. And every match I've seen it played in, it has just been brutal to hold on to combo. So, yeah, that pick not going the way of JP as he maybe would have hoped for it to. And we go right back into the DT pool here for tekkito. Into this DT4, it is going to be the shortest map of the pool. I think it's like 1:14 in length. Yeah, 1:14 on the dot. It is 216 BPM, but it is a tricky map. You can kind of hear some tech elements to it. Well, normally you would expect this to be like heavy on the finger control, which there is finger control in this map, but it's a lot of slider aim. It's got a lot of slider vomit going on to it, so it does add another layer of depth. And yeah, blink and you'll miss it. The map will be over. So I'm just gonna focus on the map itself here. Intro wise, got that burst pattern leading into the first bit of sliders tech, and JP going to be the first one to drop as well, finding another break, dropping down to 82% accuracy before tekkito finds their first miss. Trades do happen here on a couple of these sliders, but JP just not able to build up any combos so far. tekkito is doing better off of the combo advantage and the accuracy advantage. 7% accuracy difference between these two players right now, as this combo has started to equalize just a little bit, but still in the deficit is JP. 90,000 points in favor of tekkito, and it's continuing to climb here. We're already halfway through the map now. Spinners and these sliders not going to be tripping up anybody. And now we get into the hardest part of the map. Big aim, big slider aim, lots of finger control, lots of aim control. And now we are finally getting to see a couple of breaks from these players here. JP and tekkito both going to be trading out with each other. Neither player going to be missing on the slider ticks, but JP is going to be dropping first here after the recovery, and tekkito now is going to be falling as well, but not after building up about 100 extra combo into the end, and the map is over. 180,000 points just in favor of tekkito. Actually, almost 200,000? Spin to win? Ooh, not quite 200,000, but just shy of it. Then 300 points of being, or excuse me, 201 points of being 200,000 score difference. And yeah, just look at the accuracy gap here. It was 83% for JP versus that 93%. 2x miss versus the 8x, but I mean, yeah, the map is so short, and like the combo matters a lot, but so did that accuracy. And I think tekkito got probably at least 100k points, give or take, just from the accuracy advantage that he was able to build up. So great way to consolidate on your breakpoint that you were given to you. And we're just gonna continue down the line of pick the one slots here. It's gonna be some Camellia featuring Nanahira. It's Toryuka. It's Jonathan LFJ map, and it's honestly like one of my favorite maps in this pool. I really do like this map. It's still aim, all things considered, but I think a lot of people would like categorize it as maybe like alt aim. It's got some like snap alt elements to it. It is 256 BPM, but there's a lot of bursts happening in this map, a lot of like triples, and you do really have to be on top of your game with your snapping in order to not over aim or under aim the triples. There's also some rhythm switch ups in this map as well, where it goes from like 1/4 bursts at 5 notes into 1/3 bursts and 4 notes or something. Not happening the math in my head right now, but you'll see what I'm talking about. The harder parts of the map are during the key eyes and the solo section, but specifically there are a couple of hard parts right before the key eyes. The jumps do get kind of mean. It goes from circle to slider jumps, so you can find a miss on the sliders if you're trying to hit both the slider head and the tail. But here we go, into the map. Does feature a little bit of linear aim as well. Already, both players at the exact same accuracy. Tekkito going to be dropping just a few extra 100s, and I do believe this is the first time that we are going into the hidden pool as well for this match, so this will give some insight as to how maybe some of the other hidden picks might go for these players. Right now, it's just a very slight advantage for JP. Also, a bit on the longer side is 4.5 minutes in length. JP going to be the first one to fall, though. Drop that combo here before the first quarter of the map hits, but still plenty more map left to be had. Tekkito is going to start gaining on that score, though, the more that he combos. Here's the jumps leading into the first ki section. You have to be on top of your game. There you see the pattern switch up on the rhythm. Neither player going to be dropping combo, though, as we go into the first ki section. Still do have to maintain your cursor control here on these jumps. Still no breaks. 30,000 points in favor of Tekkito. The accuracy is actually in their favor as well now, but we are going into some of these triple jumps here. The slider jumps into the triples, and you do still have to try to not miss on those, and both players hit that pattern, so still just those initial breaks coming through from JP as we come into the outro of this ki. Still some difficult patterns. Again, another big jump part here. No player missing. And they do hold on to their combos now. And continue to push forward here for this lead from Tekkito. It's still within reaching distance from JP. If Tekkito does make any mistake here, there's still half the map remaining, but you do have to continue to hold on to the combo and try to match in hopes of a miss to come through. But 85,000 points, and it's still continuing to rise here for Tekkito on JP's third pick here now. So yeah, I mean, this is starting to get a little scary, but not too scary. 92,000 points into this next jump section before we get into another ki. Facing does go cross screen, but nobody going to be breaking on those patterns as we are into the second ki now. Again, more big jumps. Lots of aim, but still no breaks. I mean, these players are just performing so exceptionally well on this map. Just going to be down to whoever misses first here. Again, more triple jumps, that wide angle pattern not going to trip anybody up. And so still Tekkito holds on to the full combo as the players do get into the pause. They do get to see that the combos are high. Tekkito still full comboing, has the accuracy advantage, so now nerves might be coming into factor here. Longer stream, almost found the miss on JP from a slight shake, but this is a solo section. And so you do still have to be keeping your eye out on some of these jump patterns to make sure that you are still aiming the notes properly. Another stream there. JP dropping a lot of accuracy, found a couple of 50s, but still holding on to the combo. Tekkito just not giving, though. It's 180,000 points in their favor just from that very initial miss from JP, and a little bit of accuracy drops. These big slider jumps, though, did drop a lot more accuracy for JP. Still no breaks. The 1/3 stream and still no breaks. And this is 1,700 combo for Tekkito and 1,350 for JP. And this is an incredible map so far between these two players. Just the initial breaks. There's a triangle pattern. Nobody drops. And these are some crazy patterns that these players are holding through, but finally, something gives here in this map, and it is going to be JP, unfortunately, not shortly, though, before Tekkito finally drops that full combo, but the damage has been done. It's 260,000 points in favor of Tekkito, and JP has no combo and no time to bring that score lead anyway back in their direction, unfortunately. Even with the extra misses coming through from Tekkito, these aim picks not quite going the way of JP anymore. It was just that initial no mod 1, which I do think did give JP some false confidence here, but when you're picking hidden aim into Tekkito, that's another thing. These are two players that can play the same stuff as each other, and so JP now finding themselves in a particularly tough situation. Tekkito up 4-1 and does get to have another pick here, as this is the second breakpoint that they've gotten. So this is going to get scary very quickly for JP if Tekkito is able to consolidate on this second breakpoint here. Now, it's not over though, because if anybody was watching that Tekkito TTV UFO matchup just yesterday, then you would know that Tekkito was at a 4-1 scoreline, and then UFO won 4 maps in a row to bring it to 4-5. So it is very much doable to make a comeback here. 4-1, not going to be end all for JP here, but you do kind of need to start getting those points back, and it's kind of got to start here on this No Mod 3 pick, where we are going to get to see some flow alt actually on this one. There are some bursts to it, but it's 4 minutes in length, and a lot of flow patterns in this one. There's some snap alt to it as well, but for the most part, this is not like a jump alt map. This is just some awkward flow alt patterns. So I am interested to see how this one plays out. tekkito off the back of a second breakpoint now, looking to consolidate here. Yeah, this is the loser's bracket matchup here, the final match of this weekend. Winner of this match moves on to play against Peekapone. Loser of this match is eliminated from the tournament in 4th place, I believe. So a lot is on the line for both these players, as early goings in this map is just going to be a little bit of accuracy drops from JP for the time being. A slight accuracy drop from tekkito as well, but much more on the side of JP. Do get to see some of these wiggles in this map here as well, with the burst mixed into it. It is 280 BPM bursts too, so and just the finger control required here on a map like this. Not going to be playing in favor of JP here. tekkito is already starting to work up a pretty significant lead, 40,000 points, and continuing to climb as JP found a couple of chain misses and even more breaks as well, dropping a lot of accuracy down to that 95 range. Still decent enough accuracy, but tekkito sitting on that 99%, looking very uncontested so far with the combo, making it through this Ki section. Both players do combo through the Ki, but yeah, just some particularly nasty bursts in the finger control part there that JP found their misses on, and no trades to be seen anywhere from tekkito, as JP again going to be dropping combo. Finally, we see a miss come through from tekkito, but I mean, 85,000 points here. It was a chain miss, so we did drop quite a bit of accuracy here for tekkito, but it's not too much, only down to that 98.5, but luckily for tekkito, JP is, just slightly ahead in the combo. It's not like there's a big combo deficit here for him, so that score is actually just not going to go the direction of JP without more mistakes from tekkito. Still more map left to be played. We're halfway through. Here's again another... Oh, no, I thought that was the finger control section leading into the second Ki here, but no, just going to have the finger control in the second Ki. And JP going to be finding the next break in this match. Now tekkito, again, uncontested on their recovery. Doing good work to hit the patterns here in this Ki section. Not get tripped up on their fingers on the bursts here. But yeah, just some unfortunate misses from JP. Already 130,000 points in favor of tekkito. JP missing on those 1-2 jumps there. And yeah, just it's not looking great so far for JP in this map. Granted, it still was a tekkito pick, but you do have to start getting some combo going your direction. I feel like the last few maps have really just been struggled to get the combo. Outside of the last map, of course. It's just tekkito was like F-sing for the majority of the map, and we finally see another break come through from tekkito, but it's 157,000 points in their favor. And we are coming into the final quarter of the map. How much combo is JP working with them? Just about 200. So is going to need to continue to see more breaks from tekkito, and at this point you have to full combo the rest of the map here, JP, in order to try to get the breakpoint here on this pick. We do see another break come through from tekkito. There is potential, but that score is just barely moving right now. And still need more misses. The map is starting to come to an end very shortly. It's 140,000 points in favor of tekkito, but JP dropping their recovery combo is going to spell doom here for any hopes that they would have had to get the breakpoint back on this pick from tekkito, and tekkito will have done enough to secure themselves another consolidation on a breakpoint here. 5-1 now. There is still some more leeway. For JP, they can still lose one more map before tekkito gets to that match point, but ideally, you cannot lose any more maps if you don't want to have to force a tiebreaker here. So JP, a lot is on the line to maintain themselves in this tournament, to try to get to that grand final stage in the losers bracket. But still, they have a lot of work to do here. Tekkito is performing exceptionally well across pretty much every pick here. It was just that Nomad 1 at the very start of the match that JP had Tekkito's number on, but from that point onward, there was one map that was like 30,000 points, and the rest have been pretty one-sided here for Tekkito. So is going to maybe have to go down a different route. I don't think the 1 slots are going to work anymore. And yeah, a different route indeed as we go into that Hard Rock 3 here. For JP, it's going to be some precision, not the hyper precision in that Hard Rock 2. This one's just standard CS 6.5. But it's a little bit of a slider map. I mean, it's got some finger control to it, some rhythm patterns, mostly just swing, if we're talking rhythm. But for the most part, the difficulty of this map is slider control, slider aim here on this one, as we are just going to turn the volume down. And honestly, we could probably try to keep the volume down just a little bit lower than what we normally do, because it will get the VOD muted. I don't know if it gets if it does more than that, but it definitely gets the VOD muted. So thank you, North American copyright system, working at its finest. Have to imagine it's probably like UMG or something. Who knows? Whatever. Either way, this is going to be the map. And yeah, like I said, slider control. The key eye sections, you know, they've got the whispering guy going like one less problem with that shit. Those are going to be like chill, but immediately after that, it goes into big vertical sliders, at least for the very first 2 key eyes. And to the final key eye of the map, those vertical sliders start rotating. And so it is going to be very testing on your aim control here. Once more, I feel like that has just been the name of the game across pretty much the majority of these picks here for these players. But yeah, already you can tell, very long, very fast sliders with that CS 6.5 does make it quite more difficult to hold on to the combo for long periods of time, and we are going to be seeing the first break come through in this map very early on. It's going to be from JP on their own pick, and already going to be giving slight advantage towards Tekkito as we get into the first key eye here. And these are going to be kind of the calm before the storm sliders here. But here we go into the big vertical sliders, and this is what I was talking about. You'll get to see this one more time in the second key eye where it's all vertical, but the third key eye is this, but it starts rotating, and so it is going to be pretty hard to hold the combo. Finally, we see the break from Tekkito, but JP's found a couple of extra misses on top of their initial one, so 40,000 points in Tekkito's favor right now, but combo advantage in favor of JP, still doubted by about 1% accuracy, 1.5% though, in favor of Tekkito. So that is going to keep the score from moving too quickly, too fast, and now it's actually just not going to move at all with those misses from JP. Not able to hit that slider head, unfortunately, here, as we are about to get into the second key eye of the map. But the map is already halfway over, so, you know, any more misses here from JP without trades from Tekkito is just not going to be helping them. I mean, even you don't want trades at this point. You just want misses from Tekkito if you are JP here. As we get into the second key eye section, again, more giant vertical movement on these sliders. And it's not going to trip up either player this time around, so we are going to make it through that section with the combo, but unfortunately for JP, on their own pick here, Tekkito is the one with the higher combo as we get into the little breakdown section now, as it is about 120 combo over top of JP's about 78,000 points. Continuing to climb here as we get into these jumps. It is going to be JP finding another break on that wide linear aim, but Tekkito finally ends up dropping their recovery, but still, it's not a great spot to be in here as JP finds the trades, and we need to see JP hold on to the combo instead of trading at this point. You are down 120,000 points right now, going into the final key eye of the map, arguably the last the hardest part of the map. With the slider aim, I've kind of been alluding to it. There's also, I think, a few sliders here that you do have to hit a slider tick on? No. Okay, not going to be the case, but yeah, here we go. This time, instead of the vertical movement, it's kind of all over the place. Still going to be long linear sliders, just not all vertical, as we do see a couple of breaks coming through from both players. Is still going to only be benefiting tekkito, and at this point, the map has been going on too far here for JP to be able to hope to get that score lead back. This is going to be tekkito finding a 6th point on the board here, a 3rd break point as we make it to the first player getting to match point in this match here. 6-1 now on tekkito's next pick, and this is scary for JP. This is like a nightmare scenario when you have not won any of your... Actually, yeah, wait a minute. Okay, so JP won their first pick, and then they have lost their next 3 picks in a row. And so it's just not been going great for them. And on top of that, they've also... There's only been one map where it was kind of close between the two players on the final score line, and that was the second map of the match, I believe. It was tekkito's first pick, and so... Yeah, I mean, it's a rough spot to be in. Doesn't matter who you are. And hey, I can finally stop yapping for just a little bit. I was trying to yap over it, just so, you know, out of courtesy, so the VOD doesn't get muted, but it might get muted anyway. Who knows? It's pretty good at detecting those copyrighted songs, copyrighted artists, but I'm going to take a quick sip of water here. It's going to be the Nomad 5, and this is a standard... Shred Nomad 5 kind of a map. It does give off like older style vibes, but there's a lot of shred going on with this one. So some bursts happening. You really are tested on your speed stamina rather than maybe just like long stream stamina. But I do think that this is pretty contestable here for JP. Just given the nature of like what all they excel on. They do excel on double time, they do excel on high AR stuff and higher BPM stuff, but normally that comes into play more with like the high AR aim rather than maybe high AR bursts, but still not a stranger to this. So you know, again, I feel like I have to remind you guys, this is losers bracket matchup. So JP, in order to even have a chance at winning this match, they have to win the next 5 picks in a row here, starting with tekkito's next pick on this Nomad 5. And even then, they have to win the tiebreaker after that. So it is a lot that JP has to do. It's not over yet, but they do have quite a tall mountain to climb if they do want to maintain themselves in this tournament. Starting things off here, just a little bit of shred on the intro. Accuracies do drop quite a bit. JP found a very early miss on this one, but is going to find another break here just shortly after, about 100 combo recovery. And so now tekkito again is going to be starting things pretty happily with the combo advantage. I feel like this has happened quite a bit throughout this match, and it's really unfortunate to see from JP as we make our way into the first Ki section. A lot of these buzz sliders, you can actually slider break on those if you release too early, so you still have to be cognizant of that, but neither player going to be dropping their combo just yet. We're already a quarter of the way through the map, and still better accuracy for tekkito. Still on that recovery from JP, but not anymore now as we find another break in this Ki section. Still no trades from tekkito, and this is really already an awful spot to be in. You get to the first pause of the map about a third of the way through, and it's a 100,000 score gap almost. 94,000 in favor of tekkito, and this is not the spot you want to be in when you are down 1-6 at match point here. This is a nightmare scenario, but still not over, although these misses continuing to come through from JP is not helping their case. They do have to lock in the combo, and tekkito just has to have a full fall apart at this point. As we get into the big burst section here, JP going to be finding more misses. Doesn't miss on those triangles aim section, but is still tekkito holding on to the combo. I mean, this combo is starting to get really out of control, and 200,000 points, that might just do it here. tekkito might have already secured the point when there's still half the map left to be played, and I do fear that is the case as JP finds more misses. tekkito's still on that full combo. We're over 900 combo now at this point, and almost 300,000 points in their favor. The map is over. The match is over. There's nothing that JP can do except, you know, just play through the end of the map. And hey, they had a great run through this tournament. It was a lot of good matches for them, but unfortunately we would have had to say goodbye to somebody at the end of this match. And this time around it is going to be JP dropping out of the tournament here in the losers finals round 2. They will finish the tournament, I believe, in the 4th place seed there, or I guess 4th placement. So still making it exceptionally far throughout the tournament, but yeah, just falling short of that podium spot as tekkito finally breaks here. I think there was maybe another miss just before that I wasn't seeing during my Yap session, but yeah, that's going to be a very fast match here to close out the final stage here in the losers bracket here in North American Tournament 2026. tekkito winning the match very one-sidedly, going to be winning 7-1 now, and that is going to be the end for the final stage. I think I've said that a few times. tekkito moves forward. They will play against Pikapone in the losers grands, which I'm not fully sure exactly when that is going to be happening, because I know there's like COE stuff happening, but just pay attention to pings from Rob, pay attention to pings in the server and so forth. But yeah, I'm getting pinged. There will be map pool tomorrow. As far as when, not fully sure. Stats and schedule will be released tonight, but your final 3 remaining players in the tournament on the winner side, you have Pez in the winner's bracket, and the losers bracket matchup will be between tekkito and Pikapone to decide who moves forward to try to face off against Pez. So I've been Liliana. Thanks so much everybody for watching. Congrats to tekkito for moving forward, and that's gonna do it. Thanks Rob again for the stream, and yeah, take care everybody.